All right, a 45-7 Penn State win over Eastern Michigan. We'll talk about the John Cappelletti number retirement in just a bit because that's a great thing for the football program. Slow start, especially for Christian Hackenberg, but they were playing an outman team, and once the offense got some things going, we saw a lot of potential of this offense.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the norm, really, when you look at, you've had the quarterback drop the ball 2 weeks in a row unhit. So, when you have a freshman quarterback, there's going to be some mistakes. He obviously throws the deep ball well, and I think he's going to continue to get better game to game, season to season. But I agree. I think there was a sense in the first half that they certainly didn't dominate Eastern Michigan.
Well, we always forget about the intangibles, these things in sports. It's the first time an 18-year-old kid is playing in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah.
Think about yourself, whatever you were doing in life at 18 years old, how you would have responded. The kid was clearly, jacked up and excited, and maybe a little bit too much so. He was throwing the ball high early on. Once he settled in, and that's what I like about the kid, is that he settles in quickly. That shows a lot of maturity for a young player.
Yeah, I mean, he can turn a bad series into a good series. I thought one of the big stories of today was the defense. Other than the Hackenberg fumble, they pretty much pitched a shutout.
Defense has been terrific for the first two games, really,
Yeah.
and they're going to need that because once they start playing better competition, there's going to be some ebb and flow with the offense, and Hackenberg's going to get a little better, and maybe he'll take a step back and 2 steps forward because that's just the nature of being a freshman quarterback, especially once you get into conference play. But they really needed to get the running game going today, and we saw Zach Zwinick, Bill Belton, and Akeel Lynch all contribute.
Yeah, I think the offensive line kind of got better as the game went on. Again, early on, it didn't seem like they were able to get the push. We've seen that a couple weeks in a row now with the offensive line, which was returned a lot of guys and was expected to be one of the high bars of the team, hasn't necessarily overpowered people, at least early.
And obviously Allen Robinson is a special player. When he's on the field, he's capable of making big things happen at any point. And as the tight end, Kyle Carter did play today, not a huge factor, but they're going to need their tight end. So offensively, I think, as Bill O'Brien said, they're a work in progress. Defensively, they look strong. They're going to play a little bit of a better team next week. We'll talk about that more on Tuesday, but Central Florida's a better team.
Yeah, and one thing that contributed to the offensive sputtering in the first half were holding penalties. There were 3 of them on the offensive line, including guys who were upperclassmen.
And it took 40 years. Penn State had never retired a jersey. They are retiring John Cappelletti's number 22. Akeel Lynch is going to continue to wear the number throughout his career, and then it will not be issued again. You were on the field. You've covered Penn State for a lot of years. You've gotten a chance to talk with Cappelletti a lot over the years. What did it mean to him to be on
I think
this way?
he was really humbled and moved by it. He's a low-key guy. He said that it was they called him a couple months ago and said, hey, we're trying to get the 73 team together. It's 40 years anniversary of that team and of the Heisman Trophy. And, Cappelletti said that was fine. He would be there. And then about a week ago, they called him and said, well, it's going to be a little bit more than that. And he said it was really one of the more miserable weeks of his life because he doesn't like the attention. He wanted to kind of keep it low-key. And they did that. But judging from the crowd response, what a universal acceptance of the idea. And I look for that more in the future in terms of being, but they have to be very selective because they have a ton of multiple year All-Americans, academic All-Americans, but what a great place to start.
Well, Bill O'Brien said he thinks you should win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
So there's only been one. That would leave a lot of tremendous players without ever having their number retired.
Yeah, but when you look back at Cappelletti, and it wasn't a campaign. He just really won it on his own, along with the team and the offensive line. They were undefeated. He beat out an offensive lineman from Ohio State named John Hicks. So now you see big campaigns and all the skill players. It just turned out that he got real hot in the second half of the year, had a few 200-yard games, and won the Heisman, and then had one of the great speeches. What a great choice when you look at the history of the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, great moment for him, great moment for the program. 45-7 win. I do think next week's game is going to be an interesting one. I'm picking Penn State to win, but people who don't know a lot about Central Florida, you're going to find out over the next few days because they're pretty good.
Yeah, there's an O'Brien-O'Leary relationship there, and I think that probably will be the most difficult of their non-conference games.
All right, for Neil Rudel, I'm Corey Geiger, Lee Carey on the video. Thanks for tuning in.